Let me record. Then sure. All right. Would it be better start the 1113 instead of the 112? How do I ensure that enough contours around the buildings? Okay, so I want to try to understand first where let me confirm that this is, did you start changing directions here? Yes, okay. If that's the case, and this is 07, you would have 97 at the bottom here, right? So the next contour off your lower plaza would be 96. So we'll see if 96 is over here. This is 95, is that right? Or that's 0. If that's 0, then you actually need to connect from here to a 96, which is not a big issue, but this also means that you can raise your FFP so that the bottom would be higher, would be closer to the original 97 or 99, 98 over there, right? So that means, yes, you could make this 13. Start with 13 would work. Yeah, so then you would have 0, 8, and 8.5, 98.5 at the bottom here. Then it will be easier to connect to, as your top FFP, you have 0, 8.5, and bottom would be 98.5. Yeah, that's easier. Okay, so that's that. For the rest of the contours, we can check a few of them. Once this one hits the so is okay. You would have something hitting there. You would have another one coming down like this. If you have a full plaza here, this would be actually parallel to, should look like this. If there is a plaza there, whenever it comes off a plaza, it can get steeper. That makes sense? Yeah, and this one goes like this. That's correct. That, then this goes like here, goes to here, there, and here. Well, Once you get down to the driving aisle, it's okay to change directions, okay? But it's also fine to keep the ridge that you have right now. When it turns out too difficult to connect to original contour, you can be more flexible on the driving part, not the parking part. The driving, you can create a slight slope so it all slope to one side. You don't necessarily have to create a crown in the middle of the road, but you don't seem to have this issue. All right. So the next problem is to connect to the correct contour. I think we need to read the 12 here a little bit more carefully because there are two 12s. Now, if you remember in Stuart's example, there are two ways to connect 12 over here. You can, this is 13. You have to close 13 for sure to make more room, right? That's also, this is 13 here. Yes, that's 13 here. So you could connect 12 back to this line. That's one option. You could also connect this one to the 12 running over here, this one. This is another 12. You could also connect 12 to that one while closing this off. So in this case, I would think the first option is actually easier depending on where your 12 is. So we'll do that and leave the other 12 alone. Let's see, the 12 is over here. So yeah, 12 can stay where it is. 15, 14, nope, that's 10. 10, 11, 12. 12 is over here. So I was trying to think where your 12 connects to the other side. Seems to be over that one. Okay. So your 12 needs to go to here. And your 13 is 13 is this line. Your 13 is over here. So it feels like there's something more 13. Yeah, you might not want to make this steeper. So I think this, yeah, let's just do it this way because otherwise you'll make this area more, too flat. You could tweak this line a little bit so that it stays closer to where it's the original 13 is, but there might be more changes in later because you're still going to put in green streets, bioretention strips. So some changes will happen. I think at this stage, the 13 and 12 can go like this. And we'll still have to drop the parking lot. Once you have curves, connection points will change. Okay, so that's your contours up until 8.5. How do you know how many contours you would need? Now, once you get off the pavement over here, you can be more flexible as how these connect over, right? Whether or not you need a swell later on, you will find out, yes, I would need a swell. But essentially, we're trying to get to 98 down here. Does that make sense? We're trying to get down to 98. And then we will have, this is 8. So you would have 10 contours in between. All the way down to 98 when you eventually connect to the bottom contour at the backyard. So that's how many contours you would need on the side. Same thing goes over here. Looks like you have another contour here. If we connect this line over, that's your, and then it depends on whether or not you're getting down, well, if the last line is over here, you don't have any other contour. So the 7 contour here is the last contour you would have on your parking lot. Because you can see you don't have anything crossing, or you don't have enough space to create another 6 contour over there. So that's, you don't have 6 on your turnaround. Your turnaround, it is on a steep area and it's very close to the vegetation. So very likely you'll have to do some adjustments, including like, okay, I need to round these. Let me change to another color. Need to round these. And then you have a center line in the middle like this. And your circle will need to align with your center line. The turnaround here, you will be something like this. This line, the extension of this line will go through the center of that turnaround. And this will also, help move your turnaround away from the very steep area. Honestly, I think it's still pretty close to the turnaround, to the vegetation. So it might mean that everything here would need to rotate in this direction. You have a lot of space in between, so I'm not too worried about, the possibility of turning or rotating. You should be able to rotate it off the steep area. Okay. That's that's pretty much what I can comment on this submission. I think in terms of progress, this is appropriate. Although a few more contours could be connected off here, right? In these areas, well, there are still conflicts between existing and proposed, so those needs to be connected. Always be mindful of the direction where the contours hit the wall. It should be like this instead of this way, okay? Because you're going to drain water onto the wall if that's the case. All right, so that's that. Let me clear. I did save a screenshot here. Let me clear and then and then scroll up to see your remaining questions. I think I answered both of them. Anything else you want to go through? Okay. Good. All righty. Okay. So my next submission is Sarah. Is Sarah online? Let me go see. Oh, the other Sarah, yes. Let me see if she is in the main room. Well, not here yet. Okay, we can. Trinity, if you can text her to let her know. Okay, thank you. Paige over here. I think, yeah, you're online.
I'm here.
Yes. So yeah, if you were here when I reviewed Trinity's drawing, we talked about, you want the top FFP to be relatively high. so that you will be closer to the original contours once you get down to the bottom of the backyard, right? So if your FFE, top FFE is 1104 and your bottom FFE is 94, then you need, it's going to be very hard for you to connect to 94 once you get to the backyard. So I could almost definitely say you could move your contours at least, you know, up for 2 numbers. Like you start with 1112 or even 1113. It depends on where your existing contours are. Okay, let me try to zoom in. So it's not easy for me to see where 0 is, but I think 0 is this one. Feels like this is 0. That is 95. And if you have 4.5 as your top FFE and your bottom here outside of the wall will be 94.5, so that your 94 will be somewhere here. That's your 94. And your 94 right now is over here. So you should look for where this, no, roughly at this location, you're at about 97. Okay, so if we can change by 3, if we can be 97 and here, it will make your life easier later on. So let's say that's this 1107 and 08 and all the way through this is 1113. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so the overall pattern, you should stop the pattern right at this point. I know you're trying to do that. This will make later creating a lot easier so that you have a lot of space in this area for your retention. Okay, so stop the grading, the grids right at the edge of the pavement of the parking lot and the driveway. You don't have to extend it. If you would like to, you can. But if you're running out of room, stop at the edge of the pavement is totally fine. Okay, and this line cannot go just right here. Okay, it needs to keep going. Well, I don't know where the original contour is. If it's over here, then I can see some conflicts between this line and that line. So most likely this line will keep going to shape a swell somewhere here. Okay, and then the next one, it's going to connect like that. And the next one is like this. So you can see, you know, there would be a swell going on like this. Later on, not to worry about it right now, we'll ask you to create a swell, divergent swell in this area as well. So when I look at the, I do think your parking lot is too close to the vegetation. It's already pretty hard for you to connect the contours. So later on, if we ask you to create retention area, you won't have room. You can kind of see why, you know, water is draining this way. So you need retention area in this area later on. And now we're not having enough space to do that. And I don't see a big problem for you to basically move your the whole design, cutting it starting from here, cutting it, and then move the rest of the area, the whole design up to about this location. Okay, and then you would need to rework the connection here. but that's not a huge difficulty. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that is the base map. Okay. For here, these look fine to me. These connections look fine to me in this area. We do need to try to connect, oh, sorry, back to these contours. Yeah, because I can't see the base map, it's very hard for me to see if the connections are correct, which is, well, I think you have the principle, you get the principle, so I'm not too worried about that. Okay, I'm gonna save this, and then I'll clear and then take a look at your questions. I don't understand how to connect the contours to the existing ones. Very close, same round, don't have to fix it. I move contour, hits another, so I have to move it. Oh, just overall confused. Okay. Because it's hard to see the original contours, and once we change the contour numbers by 3, it is different. So
Yeah, I think I just started too low, so that's why it was so confusing for me. But once
okay,
I will change like them higher, I think it will be better. Because like I understand what I'm doing now.
yeah, if this is 7, the 6, it will almost definitely require you to cut the 5 off here. So the 5 becomes like this, okay? And the 6, your 6 needs to come in this direction. Oh, actually, if no, this is not a paved, so that's okay. And you come over here and then hit the wall. So that's your 6. And then you have another 5 going in, well, no. If that's 5, you can actually do this. 5 get cut in this area, and then 5 continue to do this. That's your 5. So which will mean you can see, no, this area it's going to be pretty steep, but it's off pavement, so that's okay. Okay, the pavement or in your plaza needs to be at 5, and you can see that your plaza area here can stay within 5, but once it gets into this area, you're steeper than 5. So the plaza wouldn't wrap around that much, and it doesn't necessarily have to. You only need to provide a plaza from your drop-off area to your entrance. So it's perfectly fine if you just have this flat area as your plaza. No plaza here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, I think you get the idea as well. You just started too low. Once you bring it up, it will be much easier. Okay. Anything else you would like me to go through?
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, good. All right. Is the first Sarah here? Not yet. Okay, let's look at, sorry. Second Sarah. Okay, out of the vegetation. So feels like we have the same issue. We're starting too low, right? Right now here, the original elevation is at 11 or 12, even higher, 12 or 13. if we're starting at 112, 105, 105 is over here. So that's definitely too low. So if that's the case, actually your bottom would be 89, right? 89 is out of the page. So we'll need to raise it by 8 or 7. Once you raise it by 8 or 7, then you would be, yeah. Now delete this contours, add a center line. Delete the contours at the center line. I'm not exactly sure what. Here. Can you raise your voice? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Your swells will be going like this, and it will be going like this. You know, here, because you're very close to vegetation, most of your designs are very close to vegetation. It's very hard to create a swell. So then, most likely you will try to form a relatively uniform slope and shape flow the runoff. So most likely your drainage pattern is going to look like the pink arrows here. So you wouldn't need a swale in this direction. You would not need these. These are likely very not necessary. And here, 99 wouldn't wrap around like this. Yeah, once you change your contour number, you will see it won't wrap around, it will hit the wall, okay? The contours on the left side of the building will hit the wall, go around the building to the other side of the building. Yeah. Okay. And this is not an HPS. This is a ridge. We're directing water to the side here. So because this is high and this is low, so we're designing a ridge signature or instead of a valley signature here. Okay. All right. Anything else you want to go through? Okay. And again, remember, you only need to run the grid to the end of the pavement. So you can start connecting back to your original contour, starting these points. That will save you room and actually will afford you enough room to be able to connect back to original contours. All right, I'm going to clear all this, and then we'll keep going. Jake. And thanks, Jake, for reminding me the Canvas site wasn't updated. All right, looking polished. So our ridge line goes, can you kind of see how your alignment of the ridge line is actually going against your existing topography? Yes. Yeah, so you would try to align, but I can see that you get the idea. You would try to align your ridge line this way. So rotate your ridge line so that it more or less aligns with the entrance, the road intersection here, and the front plaza. because you do want your front plaza to be sort of the intersection of that V, X pattern there. So let's change to a different color. You would have things like this. And we can start with 13 over here. 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. You might even want to try to do this. So the building direction. Okay, let's rotate a little bit more to this way. I'm gonna try to move things. Yeah, I'm getting close to what you had before now. Okay, so once we start from, again, from 13 here, we could still have another one there. Then we get down to still 18 over here. No, 8 here. We might have a little bit of very tiny, or we might not even have that one. So then this will be 98. $98 is roughly over here, so that might be okay. 98 is over here. So then it could look like, eventually look like this, connecting back there. So let's just try a couple of the contours and see how difficult it's to connect back. 8 over here. So 12 shouldn't be a problem in this area. 8 connects to somewhere over here. 9 is that one. This is 10. 10 connect back over here. So this is 10. 10 would do something like this. I know I'm getting pretty close. We can make more room later on by just moving this line over like this. That's my 10. Maybe that's 2. 9 would be here. Starting from there. Yeah, that's 9. And then doing like this. 8 will be here. So something like this. And then 7 will be somewhere out of the range. So again, going around and then connect back here. Then 6 Yeah, little bit awkward in this area. In fact, if you rotate your building a tiny bit over so that my building can, I don't want the, yeah, I can see we're getting tight. So maybe we could do is we could move it down, but having that directional adjustment would make it a little bit easier to attach these contours to the side of the wall. Then we have our, I went through to 6. 5, you will just basically, okay, attach the wall like that. Okay, so a little bit difficult. So you're using a lot of wall space to attach the contour here. If you can have your 8 contour actually hit the wall, that'll be even better. But I don't think it's a big adjustment. So if you can rotate your ridge so that your ridge start with the roughly in the center of the plaza, and then point to where the original ridge lies, basically, you know, the original ridge ends somewhere in this area. So if you can align your ridge that way, you'll find it a lot easier, and then you wouldn't have such a steep road over here. Okay, yeah, and you can also see this is out of your property boundary, which is not a huge issue because this is Penn State, we own all the land. You can change that, but you don't have to change that. Okay, all right, I'm gonna save this. Anything, oh, let me see, can the 1105 be pulled down this far? Yeah, originally you had it a little too far. And also remember you're off the pavement here, right? The orange line of 05, your original 05, are again 2% away from your 06. But this is not on pavement, this is on vegetation. So you actually can get a lot steeper in that area. So basically mean you can shoot a line down from your 05 over here. Always forget to change. 05 like this, and then hit it over here. You don't have to go through the orange. You don't have to follow the grid anymore. Okay. Oh yeah, the 06 wouldn't look like that anymore once you change your contour directions. Yeah, I think I answered about the road. Yeah, but you went through every contour, so that's good. You went through once and we found some issues, we adjusted, but you used the same process to do the iteration. Okay, good work. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Good. Let me rotate. Oh, actually, this should be the direction. Yes, that's the direction. All right. Ridge line looks good. Again, I'm gonna follow the process I always use. I'll mark the one that changed direction. Is the one, couldn't quite figure out which one though. So that might be the last one that followed the grid. Is that right? Or is this one? I think we're off a little. This one goes like this. We might want to check the last few lines. Let me clear. Can you see that this doesn't align with your ridge? Yeah. So that is the alignment there. That's the alignment there. Okay. Doesn't, yeah, it's fine. We can use what you have here to see if it's relatively easy to turn. So if we have the first line like this, the next line, yeah, if your center line's like that, your grid actually look like this. Yeah, you don't need that anymore. You don't need this one. That's your first one. And then we would turn somewhere over here. Then we might just do something like this. Well, this would work. That one goes actually, if that's the case, we would do a mirror. So my ridge is over here. Your ridge would turn, and this line is relatively in the middle of these two contours. Does that make sense? Yeah, and this is your swale. Okay. Yeah, this would work. We'll take a look at numbers. Suppose we have 11 over here. Well, let's do 12. 12. We again have an 8 and 98. And this is 0. It's close enough to a 98. So that would work. And you would have a pretty flat area here, which is good. Now you would have a flat area here and then turn to, that's your 7. 12 is close to this area. Close can be connected back here. This distance, it might just be enough to work. It might be just enough. If it's a few feet over, I think later on you can remove the walkway, because likely when folks see the building in a different direction, won't use the walkway anymore. So you can reduce that walkway that you designed there. And if that still doesn't give you enough and your parking lot edge to form a 25%, then you would need to move the whole thing slightly away from the vegetation. I wouldn't expect to be a huge problem, but that could be a possibility. Okay. Depend on how far exactly the edge is from the vegetation. But overall, this grid would work. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, good. Your base map design, I don't know if it's printing issues, but they don't look perpendicular perfectly. The parking stalls, for some reason, from it doesn't look perfectly perpendicular. That My mouse, it's not. So this needs to be, the parking spaces, they need to be perfectly perpendicular. They look like an accurate angle, close to 90, not exactly 90. I just wanted to double check that, okay? Don't make it parallel to your curb. Make it perpendicular to where the narrow end of the car is. Okay. Okay. All right, I'm gonna clear here. Logan, see if you're online. Yeah, you're online. Can you unmute?
Yeah, I'm here.
Good. All right. So I currently don't see the grid yet. We'll need to start with the grid.
Okay.
You have your bottom top FFE. I'm not exactly sure what your top FFE is. So it looks like, okay, the side contour, you started with 1105, which is a good estimation. You know, you definitely would have a 1105 at, you know, hitting the wall, the side wall of your building. Right now, let's ignore the ramp, let's ignore the stairs, because the ramp feature, you know, it will cross your contours. You know, it will change your contours once the surrounding more steeper area hit the ramp. But you know, eventually your 1105 actually needs to go hit the wall here. Okay. The 1105 hits your ramp, but it needs to continue to go to your wall. And then we'll worry about how the ramp changes your 1105, the spacing between these contours for the ramp portion later. Let's pretend for now the grading doesn't concern the ramp. Okay, so it have to end at the wall of the building, and then it will go around the building and then continue on the other side of the building. Okay, so we will need to start with the grid for now. Your turnaround for now doesn't work yet. So you will need to extend your parking to this direction so that you would have a area that is enough for your turnaround area. So let me move this to around here. So your turnaround needs to be in this location, leaving some space between your turnaround and your building. Okay, this is still pretty small space. You may need to move your building, push it back a tad, leaving 30 to 40 feet between your drop-off and your bus drop-off. So this would be a good spacing between these two features. Okay, those needs to be 30 feet.
Okay.
All right. So then your parking space will be extending, and this needs to be about 200 feet long, the shorter side, because 200 feet is 20 parking spaces per side, right? So that will be about 200 feet long. And then you start with the connection of the parking spaces to the road. Now center it. There are, well, maybe a few options. Let me try actually connecting this first. Yeah, looks like it needs to be. Sorry, I'm drawing with my mouse. It's not very delicate. Okay. So it will look like this instead. You would simplify the connections before. Before here, you had 1 turn, 2 turn, 3, and almost 4 here. Let's simplify it to just 1 for the bus drop-off and 1 for the parking spaces themselves. That
Okay,
makes sense?
would that be too
Yes.
close to the vegetation down there or no?
If you have 30 feet over here, you would be fine.
Okay,
Even 25 would be fine.
okay,
But let's try 30 for now. So try to keep this at 30, and it's pretty safe if we have 30 here.
okay,
Okay. Now, next for you would be lay a grid starting from here to there. That's your grid. That's your ridge line, okay? And then
Mhm.
your grid will look like this. Okay, making sure the line offsets at a 50 feet distance. And then the starting contour here, see, follow the grid. Starting contour here would be 12 or 13.
okay.
All right. Okay, we actually have pretty good amount of time left for our class. If you would like to make revisions and come back to me for additional review, I'd always be happy to answer additional questions. Okay.
Okay, when you said they're all set by 50 feet and then the first one, you say 13, is that?
Starting from 1013 contour.
Oh, okay, okay,
13 contour here.
okay. And is there like a certain like way to calculate the angle that they're coming off of the ridge line? Or is that just
No,
based off
you
of?
basically you try different grids and different angles and if they work. But yeah, the one that I show you will most likely work.
Okay,
Just based on experience. Yes.
okay, thanks.
Okay. Let me see if I have missed anybody. I know Sarah. Yeah, Sarah wasn't. Oh yeah. Is she feeling well? Do you know? Okay. Yeah. 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 If she can email me her updates, and likely we'll have room on Thursday. We can talk through her drawings as well. Yeah. All right. Anybody else I missed? I think we're good. Shelly and Sander and Jaden, I see that you're sitting in. If you have questions, let me know. Okay, hearing.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
So I haven't started yet, but so when we go to do our grid, does it matter like, or the ridge line, does it matter which angle that we're doing it at? Or like you said, when you were doing Logan's, are we just trying to find whichever one works?
You would want to, your ridge line, you would want to align that with the entrance of your driveway and the center of your plaza.
Okay.
Because you can see this grid, works the best when it's more balanced, right? The reason why we want it to end at the, in the middle of the plaza is we want the grading to be relatively balanced between the two sides of the building. Now, it's not to say that it doesn't work if I have it, oh, sorry. If I have it here, that's okay too, but you can see you will have a totally different pattern in front of your building. And here actually doesn't work because your swell goes into your building. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so basically it just makes it easier if you center it with the,
Exactly.
okay,
If you have your building over here, it makes it a lot easier to do something like this. So all the water will drain to the side like this. That makes sense? So yeah, make your ridge ending in the center, relatively in the center of your plaza, starting the ridge roughly in this area at the start of your driveway. That will avoid for you to have to rearrange many times how to lay out the grid.
okay. And
Okay.
then when we have the, so like when you have the contour lines that we were gonna draw in, they stop like right at the edge of where the concrete ends. So like at the top of the parking lot, it would just end there and then connect to the contour.
Yes,
Okay,
yes. Now, once you are off the pavement, you don't have to maintain that 5% or 2 to 5% slope anymore. So
Okay.
you end it at the end of the pavement, then you have more space. No, you won't limit your contours that I need to connect back from here. I can connect back from here. When this space is pretty limited, you don't want to connect like this. So all this space can then wouldn't be able to accommodate other contours. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah, so you would want to end your grid to the edge of the pavement, leaving as much flexibility here as possible.
Okay.
Okay. All righty. Good
Thank you.
questions. Other questions from Sander or Shelley? All right, I'm gonna mute out then. I'm actually going to stop recording so that my computer can start converting the local stored recordings that I can upload as soon as I can after class. I am here in the computer lab. If anybody have any additional questions, come over here. I might take a little bit of break to eat something during lunch. If you want to hop on Zoom to ask the questions, feel free as well. Okay.
I actually have one more question before
Oh,
you.
go ahead. Go ahead.
So when we go to start, the contours are labeled like right when we go to know which like, so it would start over on like the 113 or whatever it is. So they're labeled so that we know where, like which number it's starting on, correct?
So you would want to, what your end goal is, you would count contours in between, and you would try to estimate the top FFE, right? So if, for instance, using 1113 lead to an 08, 1108 as my top the last contour in front of the building, then I would say my top FFE is 8.5, 1108.5, and then my bottom FFE would be 98.5. Okay, if 98.5 is close to where the original contour is, which it looks like it is, right? This is 0. Oh, that's 0. 0 goes over here. Oh, once I move the building over to lower, then it starts to be pretty far away from the 0. So if this is 0, if my building is over here and my next contour out of my backyard is 98, then I would say, wow, that's pretty far away. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say this 0, it's pretty far away from my 98. Or, sorry, I take that back. Apologies. If this is 0, 98 might be over here. And if my proposed 98 is over here, then that's close enough, although not perfect. So that means I could move my contours up by 1. Sorry, lower by 1. Wow. Sorry.
That's okay.
Let me rephrase. If this is 98, I would want this to be 97. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
If I want this to be 97, then this will be 07. Then that means my trial of 1113 is good, but not good enough. I would want the first one to be 1112. Then my 97 is very close to where original 97 is. Then my grading at the bottom of the house or of the building will be pretty minimal. Does that make sense?
Okay, so we don't, if we have like stuff that works out up top, we might not need as much grading below the actual ones. Okay.
Yeah. Eventually, you would want to go from wherever you start, or you can go backwards. You can go backwards as well, either direction. If we go backwards, for instance, I would want to see the last contour or the contour off the backyard, which is the next contour below your bottom FFE. Okay, if the contour here in this location, just outside of my backyard is 97, then I would say my bottom FFE would be 97.5. So my top FFE will be 7.5. And then I back calculate. And I use this and this 07 to calculate how many I have to the top of the slope, the entrance drive. And then I know, okay, this is 1112. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah, so when you back calculate, you use that to then figure out how many contours you need going through the ridge line, and then that gives you like the distance between each one and the angle.
Yes,
Okay,
that's right. Either way, you can try one from the beginning, from the top, and then go to the bottom and see whether that's too far away from the existing contour at the backyard. Or you can say, okay, existing contour at my backyard is 97. So I backtrack what my BFFE should be, what my top FFE should be, how many contours do I have between the plaza, the front plaza, and my entrance drive, and then that's what determines my entrance drive contour number.
okay, that makes sense.
Okay, good. I'm glad I cleared things up.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure like I wasn't gonna go sit down to do it and then have no idea, so that helps. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's we always recommend that you sit in the reviews so that you would be ahead, right?
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.